topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the host and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Hello and welcome to the Connected Table Live. We're your hosts, Melanie Young and David Ransom. You're insatiably curious, world-traveling culinary couple. We like to take you to the places we visit, the people we meet, the foods we eat, and the wines we drink with great pleasure, and we like to share them with you so you can step outside your comfort zone and travel with us and hopefully to the places that we're talking about. Today, we're taking you to a region of Greece that you may not be familiar with, and we now are, thankfully. It's been classified as a PGI, so a protected region of Greece in the Peloponnese since 1997. It's the slopes of Aigialeia, many spellings on that, and it is an isolated region in the northern Peloponnese. If you look at the photo behind us, there's the Corinthian Gulf. It is a remote area known for what's called heroic viticulture. There's only about 5 wineries, and we have today one of the pioneering wineries of this area. We're talking about Rouvalis Winery, which was established in 1990 by Angelos Rouvalis. And we're with his daughter, Theodora, who is managing the property and estate. And we had the great pleasure of traveling with her and visiting her wineries, which are very high up. We're talking about high altitude winemaking, as you can see in a photo, of about 1,200 meters. Some of the mountains are over 6,000 feet. Before we bring her on, we have a short video. Thank you, listeners, to look at so you can get an idea of what we're talking about. For those who did see the video, were these incredibly high altitude wineries overlooking the Corinthian Gulf, and in between are steep gorges and river valleys that have just cut through for the ages, which create this incredible microclimate. There's, as you can see, there's rocky soils, there's alluvial soils, there's sea remnants, because this area was once covered by the sea. So it's really quite remarkable. We're really excited to have Theodora Rouvali join us. She is now running the winery with her partner, Antonio Ruiz Pañego. Both are enologists. They've worked around the world. They actually met working in Spain together. And we're really excited to have her join us on the Connected Table right as harvest is starting. Welcome.
Hi, Melanie. Hi, David. Hello to everyone at the Connected Table. Thank you very much for the invitation. It's a pleasure to be with you today.
Well, thank you for joining us. We know it's like 9 o'clock at night in Greece. Yeah. So thank you. And you've had a long day already because you said harvest had just started. So thank you so much for joining us.
We know how long those days actually can get.
Yeah. So tell us about your dad and how he got started in the industry and his background.
Yes, Angelos is one of belongs to the very first generation of Greek winemakers that studied abroad in France and came back and helped drive the renaissance of Greek wine. He is a really pioneer for the region. He was the one to reveal the quality potential of Rhoditis grape, and to showcase the capabilities of the viticultural zone of Aigialeia in 90s.
Yeah, he worked in Bordeaux for a while, for a period of time as well, and also in Santorini. What did that experience you think? How did that shape him?
I think that yes, the experience gave him more the quality and the love for the wine. So I think that the French culture of terroir and the idea of highlighting grape varieties guided him to the way that he approached the Aigialeia and the indigenous grape varieties at that time, at a time that wasn't obvious something like that in Greece.
But let's kind of take it back a little bit, because Greece obviously has a very long history of making wine, but it was a very different type of wine back in the day. And he really led the Renaissance for quality after working abroad and learning the techniques to bring that back to Greece and really help drive Greece forward to what it is today.
Well, I would think, but also adding to that, Greece has had a history of wars.
Yes.
And crippling wars and many abandoned vineyards. So it's kind of like there was rustic winemaking. There was winemaking, as you said, David, but it was maybe rustic or maybe not bottled yet, like in much of Europe, until after World War II. But also Greeks had, World War I, World War II, and then an internal war. So what was it like when he came to the area in the 1990s?
At that age, yes, there were some wineries in the region, but they mainly produced bulk wine without any intention of highlighting grape varieties or expressing the terroir of the region. So it was something really new inside the new era of the Greek wine. It's also, the first generation of winemakers that come back to Greece, also they use for first time also the cooling systems in the winemaking. This is very important because like that, all the warm countries like Australia or South America or Greece, always we can say that is a very old country of wine, in the old world of wine, but has the characteristics of the new world because of these details. So yes, it's in 1990 that the Greek wine started to change, and that Aigialeia started to stand out for the quality and Rhoditis grape.
So let's talk about the region a little bit, because it's a region that's well known for making wine. There's a few very famous areas, and yours obviously is one of them. It's very mountainous, but there's great quality wine made there. And you're one of the first wineries to kind of be designated as doing heroic viticulture, which is one of the things that the region is known for. And let's discuss heroic viticulture itself, and what it means to you at Rouvalis.
Okay. So, first of all, Aigialeia, the viticultural region of Aigialeia, is one of the most mountainous wine-growing areas in Europe. The vineyards are planted from 500 meters to 1,100 meters in elevation, and they sit on steep slopes that rise directly above the Gulf of Corinth. So these slopes create one of Greece's most distinctive high-altitude wine regions. Aigialeia has a lot of advantages. Has the only north-facing slopes in mainland, which is a major advantage in warm country. The vineyards benefit directly from the cool northern winds, and at the same time, there are 4 high mountains behind the region that protect from the south. Altitude also plays a crucial role. For every 100 meters of elevation, the temperature drops by 0.7 degrees Celsius. That means that at 1,000 meters, we experience temperatures about 7 degrees cooler than the sea level. It feels as if we were in the Northern Europe, but with sun, with a lot of sun. It's a true cool climate profile. And another thing is that all these slopes are just next to the sea, really steep, and they create constant air currents due to the temperature difference between mountain and sea. So these natural currents help prevent diseases. Aigialeia is the first region in Greece in quantity of organic vineyards. But for me, the most important point, the one truly worth highlighting, is that Aigialeia is one of the very few viticultural regions in the world where high altitude and strong maritime influence meet so intensely. Vineyards at 1,000 meters of elevation, just 5 kilometers from the sea, are exceptionally rare. And this for the wine, it's a double quality. I mean, it's the quality of the mountain that brings wines with tension, lower alcohol, natural fruity acidity. And at the same time, the sea acts as a natural regular. It prolongs ripening. And that's a distinctive salinity and vibrancy of the palate, you could say.
Also of interest is the vineyards, many of them are north facing, which is unusual.
Exactly.
And very important because it's very hot. And so I think it's one of the few areas in Greece that have north-facing vineyards.
Yes, it's only in mainland because of the fault of the Corinthian Gulf. All Greece is crossed by Pindos rains, mountain Pindos rains. All the rains is south-facing, but here we have the fault of the Corinthian Gulf, so the only north-facing slopes.
So we went there in July. So just to kind of put it into context, it was hot. It was before the big heat wave, but it's hot. So Greece is hot and dry in the summer. And so what's interesting about this area is, you've got the mountains. So there's some cooling mountain effect. There's also what they call the Corinthian Gulf is part of the sea, but it's like a lake effect. It's very, very deep. And it's got that moderating influence. We were both very surprised at how wide and vast the Corinthian Gulf is in this area. It's much bigger than we expected. And that was interesting. When we were there, it seemed quite calm.
It was.
But we noticed how deep it was. And that's another important factor in terms of the microclimate.
Exactly. And also the Gulf of Corinth, by a geological point of view, is considered as one of the most interesting places with a lot of movements, tectonical movements. All the time, the Peloponnese is moving away from the other side, from Sterea Ελλάδα, with very fast, like 20 millimeters per year. And at the same, this has as a result the sinking of the Corinthian Gulf and the uplift of all these slopes. So our vineyards every year rise up like 2 millimeters per year.
Wow.
This is very fast, and that means that in the same plot we can find different age of subsoils.
That's interesting.
It is interesting. You know, another interesting thing I noticed while we were there, Melanie, because you can see the other side of the Gulf from the coast that we were on the south side. There's no vineyards on the north side,
right?
So it's all situated on the south side of the Gulf of Corinth.
Which we thought that was interesting. In fact, you grew up in this area. What was the history in terms of its commerce? Because we also learned that there's an interesting trade and agricultural history, both the north and south sides of this region of the Peloponnese and the Gulf of Corinth. Can you enlighten us about that and our listeners?
The region has a very long history for the Black of Corinth raisins. It's a particular grape variety, not allowed for the winemaking, just for sun-drying and used in the cooking, in salads. So this region always, the first activity in the region was always the raisins, the Black of Corinth. When phylloxera destroyed the vineyards of Europe, the phylloxera didn't arrive fast here. So this region had a very important development, sending raisins to Europe. So it's one of the first. It was one of the first regions in agriculture activity in all over Greece. Until today, PDO Vostitsa is the most qualitative raising is cultivated in semi-mountain and mountain Aigialeia and has the name Vostitsa, PDO Vostitsa. So always was the first activity, and the second was the wine, the grapes to produce wine. So that's why, as viticultural region for the wine, Aigialeia always was lived on the side of raising. But now I think that with the climate change and with the new market desires, I think that Aigialeia is a region that that can respond very well to these challenges. The consumer today asks for more fresh and fruity wines, lower alcohol, and at the same time, the production is very difficult. And with the climate change, and all the time, the winemakers goes up and up in the mountain. So I think that the Aigialeia combines both consumption and production, and that is one of the most upcoming regions of Greece.
Well, that unique microclimate, the discovery factor, the low alcohol, the terroir-driven wines are all appealing to a young generation of wine drinkers, and of course, us old generation too. Let's talk about what you grow, the types of grapes you grow, because there are both indigenous and international varieties. Let's start with your native indigenous varieties and what you focus on, and some of the wines.
Okay, our main grape variety is Rhoditis. Rhoditis is a pink grape, a red skin color grape, but the PDO is for dry white wine. It's a very old grape variety. So we have the first reference from Plinius. That means that the grape variety is existing for more than 2,000 years. It's the most planted grape variety in Greece, but it's very connected to Aigialeia because in general it's a very productive grape, and when it's planted on plains gives more massive wines. But when it's planted on slopes and really high altitude, here in Aigialeia, it gives its best expression, very refined wines. And that's why it's a reference for us. As we say, Assyrtiko from Santorini, Moschofilero from Mantinia, is Rhoditis from Aigialeia. It's 90% of the region is cultivated with Rhoditis grape.
So, as you said, it's one of the widely planted white grapes in Greece. How does its character manifest itself in Aigialeia? What are the characteristics that distinguish it? And let's talk about your wine too.
So in Aigialeia, Rhoditis usually gives a very mineral wine with citrus notes, some fruits like green apple or melon, and really refined body, really refined on the palate. Here in the winery, we produce two different, our main wines are Asprolithi. Asprolithi is aimed to show the mountain quality of the grape variety. So it's a very simple, classic winemaking, but we blend different parcels from different micro-terroirs of Aigialeia. So it's a total expression of the grape variety in Aigialeia. We have also the single vineyard, that there the aim is to express the particular plot. So it's another expression. I think that you tasted single vineyard, Rhoditis.
We did.
We did. We tasted the Asprolithi, and we tasted a single vineyard.
From the Cataraci vineyard.
From Cataraci vineyard.
Yes.
It's an old vineyard at 840 meters above sea level. It's a vineyard that stands out every time that we taste the different vinification, and so we decided to bottle it its own.
It's interesting, Theodora, I'm on the winesofgreece.org site, which is very helpful, and under varieties, and there's a big picture of the Roditas. It's a pink skin grape. It's a white grape, but it's pink skin. And the description is that it's the foundation for many modest everyday white wines. Now, we were enchanted by it when we tasted it up in Aigialeia. It just definitely, which is why it has a very mineral character, and it was not a grape we were terribly familiar with, and became more so and more appreciative of, thanks to tasting your wines and some others.
Thank you very much.
And Asperlethi means white stone,
Exactly.
which reflects to the minerality and the stony vineyards around it. So that's and then also native, but native elsewhere. You work with Assyrtiko, which is rare in this area. It's more common in Santorini. Your father worked in Santorini, so did he decide to give it a test run in Aigialeia?
Yes, my father, after France in 82, was the first enologist in the island of Santorini, in the cooperative in Santo Wines. So he produced the first PDO Santorini in 82. And after he decided to move to Aigialeia, and here he realized the acidity that we had in some grapes as Roditis or Assyrtiko. He planted Assyrtiko. And finally, today, I mean, in Greece, always we say that we have two different poles of Assyrtiko. We have the Assyrtiko of Santorini, that is, of course, volcan, that is very interesting. Also very structural, acidic, and straight. And we have also the Assyrtikos of the northern Greece that are much more fruity. I think that in Aigialeia we are between them. We have the fruitiness of the north because of the mountain viticulture, but also we have the minerality because of the Gulf of Corinth and all the geology. We have the same acidity as Santorini. The Assyrtiko is a really acidic grape variety, but here we have much more fruity acidity because of the malic acid that is not burned because of the cool climate. So I think that we are like style between these two regions, Santorini and northern Greece.
It's a much cooler climate where you are too. Yes. I mean, Santorini is an island; it's very hot. They have these baskets. They have a different way to cultivate the ones because they have to be cultivated closer to the earth because it's so hot in Santorini. So it's very. There's actually a drought there right now.
Yeah, there's a drought all over Greece.
Yeah, there's a drought all over the world.
The world's on fire.
Yeah. Let's talk about.
I want to just kind of discuss the height of the vineyards a little bit too, because you were talking about the black grape of Corinth, which makes raisins. There's a lot of that grown, but they're not grown as close to the coast. They're a little bit further inland. And we actually didn't go to that area, but you said they're all over the place. So there's a lot of that. But the plateaus that Aigialeia comprise are three distinct plateaus, and I'd liken them to mesas in the American Southwest. So they're very flat-topped mountaintops, almost as if they cut the top off and created a vineyard on top of the mountain once they had cut it off. So like a mesa would look like, and it's only covered in vineyards, but they're very steep slopes leading up to it. It's very close to the sea. You get a lot of wind, and they're much higher elevation than the black Corinth grapes are where they're grown. So tell me, where does the altitude start for planting wine grapes versus the black Corinth grapes in the region?
So here on the coast, just next to the sea, we grow lemon trees and orange trees. We usually plant raisins and olive trees until 500 meters. And usually from 500 meters to 1,100 meters, we cultivate grapes to produce wine. We don't cultivate the raisins next to the sea because usually we want to sun dry them, so there is humidity. And sometimes there are some raisins also in high altitudes, like 700 meters or 800 meters. But usually we move the raisins in lower altitudes in order to sun dry them. So practically the very high altitude region is cultivated with wine grapes.
Wine grapes. Yeah. Interesting. And so that because it's also a little cooler up there too,
Yeah.
so which helps with the acidity. So a couple more white grapes that I want to talk about that you make, and then we'll switch to talking about reds a little bit. You make a wonderful wine that we tried called Lagorthi, which is actually the name of the grape, Lagorthi. And it's a very kind of a rare grape. It means wild hare in Greek, which is a type of rabbit, as we know. But tell us about that, because it's very limited as well. But we love the wine when we tried it.
Lagorthi is a very local grape variety. It's indigenous to the Calabrita. Helmos is one of the highest mountains here, where we have the ski center of Calabrita. So Lagorthi, when my father came back to Aigialeia, was almost disappeared. And he took some plants from the ministry experimental vineyards and replanted the grape variety. And actually, he saved the grape variety. And today we have like very few hectares and only in this region. It's a very rare grape variety. It doesn't listen to us. So we tasted a lot of years. My father started to vinify like a classic white winemaking. After 5 years that he tried to save the grape, he was disappointed because he didn't like the result in the wine. It's clear that it's very soft, without a lot of acidity. Here in the region, we are very used in high acidities, and a lower aromatic profile. So after some years, we started to taste a lot of different vinification, like aging on the lees or oak, maceration. Finally, today, with Antonio, we vinify Lagorthi in a skin contact version. We do a long skin contact, like 25 days with the skins during all the fermentation process. And like that, we managed to have a higher aromatic profile and some very small tannins that we soft with amphoras. And so we think that like that, we have the expression of Lagorthi that is a very herbal grape variety, chamomile, hay, sage, this type of aromas.
I had in my notes herbal and savory.
Yeah, me too.
So if you like that style, it's very
notes,
appealing.
Austere and mineral driven.
Yeah.
It was very, it's one of those grapes that you find when you go on trips like we go on, Melanie, and it's like, it's only grown here. I'll probably never have it again, but I got to try it.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. And we really enjoyed it. I wonder if Jason Wilson wrote about it in Forgotten Grapes.
I don't know. It was very, very interesting one. And it says in Wines and Greece, it's rarely aged in oak. It's, usually it's a single varietal. And it's often blended, but you make yours as a single varietal.
Yes.
So you make a lot of international varieties as well, or you have a bunch that you produce wine from, but you also make a Riesling, which was the first Riesling I've ever had from Greece. So, and I know it's a pet project of yours. So let's talk about the Riesling that you make.
Yes, we love Riesling, and it's a great variety that my father had started in 90s. The conditions here mirror those of a classic cool climate Riesling region. So we have high altitude, north-facing slopes, slow, even ripening. The variety, the Riesling here, retains exceptional acidity and develops very clean and precise aromatics. So why not? It's a very typical Riesling. And we think that has a very special character that combines Mediterranean generosity with mountain austerity. And I find it very interesting. And we think that express very well the terroir of Aigialeia.
We thought it was very interesting as well. And it was really a classic style of Riesling. It had the petrol notes, it had the minerality.
It's called Lefko-Lini.
Yeah.
What does Lefko mean? Does it have a name? Does it have a meaning? Lefko?
Yes, Lefko is like the white cottages that we have in Aigialeia, the small houses between the parcels, the plots of the vineyards. So all our labels have names from the 4 points of terroir in Aigialeia. That means the soil, the climate, the plant, the grape variety, and the human being. So this one is because of the human being, the small houses that the growers use to work in for the work in the vineyard.
And so your wine grapes, your vineyards range from, I think, 650
to
up to about 1,200 meters.
meters.
Where in the realm of altitude is the Riesling grown?
One of the highest.
Yeah.
So Riesling is planted at from 1,000 meters to 1,100 meters above
think it
sea level.
behind us. I think it's the vineyard
It
behind
could be.
us. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it was very, very high up there.
Well,
and
it was definitely in the
very
video
rocky,
that we watched. at the
pebbly
beginning.
and rocky soil.
Yeah.
It was quite stunning. And then you do you also do some Chardonnay. We actually, in a Viognier, we actually tasted a blend of Roditas and Viognier as well, which was kind of interesting. Sriracha.
Yes, we feel that Roditis is in our responsibility, and we are trying very different ways to express the variety. So we have young Roditis, very fresh, fruity Roditis. We have a single vineyard that is an aged French oak, with French oak, an aged Roditis. We produce a rosé from Roditis. With a maceration of the skins, because Roditis, we say that it's a red skin color grape. And also we produce a blend with Viognier. We think that Viognier gives the roundness that usually Roditis doesn't have, and Roditis gives the acidity that usually Viognier doesn't have. So we think that is an interesting blending. And Siracho means it's the point where 2 slopes interact.
Yes.
So we have one slope planted with Roditis and the other with Viognier. We harvest together, and it's a co-vinification of the two
It was a
grapes.
very interesting wine. We really liked it a lot.
It was very, very
I
nice.
called it Sirocco because I didn't know any better. However, it was a lovely wine. And the Chardonnay, you do a single vineyard Chardonnay. And this is kind of your
very
ode to.
classic.
You also worked in France, and I kind of
Burgundy.
figured this was your ode to your time working in France, because you put it through oak. It goes regular batonnage, aged on the lees, 12 months, et cetera, et cetera. So it's a very, very classic style of Chardonnay, and just a lovely wine.
Curious, before we go on to the reds, are there certain white varieties that you would like to experiment with moving forward?
Indigenous grapes.
Any white grapes?
We are start working with Kidonitsa.
Mm-hmm.
We produce sweet sun-dry wine from Kidonitsa because here we have the tradition of sun-drying. So we use the same techniques and methods that always have been used for the raisins, but now for the grape variety of Kidonitsa, one of the most upcoming grapes in Greece. And now for the first time we planted Kidonitsa in very high altitudes, because traditionally it was planted in lower altitudes in the south of Peloponnese. And now we have planted it at 1,000 meters. I think that goes really well. The plants are really young yet, but I think that here it should be interesting for dry white wine. In this
We tasted the wine. It was a Pasito style. It was absolutely stunning.
Yeah.
There was like that quince. Sometimes it's blended with Malvasia, and it was just. It was 12 months of French oak. It just had this.
Yeah, it was a lovely wine.
Creamy orange, citrus, quince. It was beautiful. And only if we go to visit, you have to go to the winery to taste it.
So I think now's a good time to switch to reds.
Yes, let's switch to
talk
reds.
about the reds that you make, and there's a big story behind producing Mavrodaphne, which is the main red of the region, because it's a grape that's very prevalent in the region where you make wine in the Peloponnese, but you're not actually allowed to call it Mavrodaphne on the bottle, because that's a PDO protected designation for a specific wine grown in another region of the area. So let's talk about Mavrodaphne and its history in the region, but also the kind of catch-22 that you have to deal with when you make and label Mavrodaphne, your wine.
Yes, Mavrodaphne always was used to produce Porto-style wines, sweet wines. So the PDO is for the sweet wines and include the name of the grape variety inside. So it's PDO Mavrodaphne of Patras for sweet wine. So we are not allowed to write on the label that is Mavrodaphne. If the wine is dry, always. If the wine is dry, we're not allowed to refer the name of Mavrodaphne. That's why the last 20 years, a lot of winemakers in Greece will have started to vinify dry Mavrodaphne. We believe that has a huge potential as red grape variety. It's something new, but we are a lot of winemakers to produce already dry versions of Mavrodaphne. So we think that little by little, we are going to try to communicate to the consumer that it's not just sweet wine. It's a very interesting dry red wine. We use the name Tsigelo. Tsigelo is the local name that we use between the growers for Mavrodaphne. So it's the local name of the grape. So we use Tsigelo, and we produce two different wines from Mavrodaphne. One made in amphoras, aging for 5 months in amphoras, a young version, a fruity driven version of Mavrodaphne. And we produce a single vineyard with 12 months aging, 9 in French oak and 3 in amphoras, a wine to age for a long time.
They were quite unusual. So we tasted your wines, and we also went to Tramunis, and they have another name for their Mavrodaphne, and it's interesting to see how they handle it. The 2024, which was aged in amphora, it was beautiful. It was just had a very tobacco minerally notes. I don't know what your notes say, but it was beautiful. And then we tasted the single vineyard, and we had a discussion in the vineyards about your philosophy on single vineyard. And I asked you how, for many don't know what that means in terms of what it does in your mouth. And you said you just have to taste it. You just have to know when you tasted it. And I had my aha moment tasting your wines, the single vineyard Roditas and the single vineyard Tsigelo. And it was an aha moment because you could just feel it in the mouth. Granted, it was a 2022, it was barrel aged, so you got more rosemary, bay leaf, red currants, coffee, black plum, eucalyptus. It was very savory, and it was just like wow, wow, and really a beautiful wine. And throughout, or we only visited 3 wineries out of the 5 in Aigialeia, and across the board, the version of Mavrodaphne, whatever they called it, as a still wine was terrific. And as you said, Mavrodaphne to Patros is a PDO wine. It's a sweet wine. I'm also on the one. It's a great site. There's a Mavrodaphne of Cephalonia. So it's also made elsewhere. I think it's as a sweet wine. So the uniqueness is that this is now a dry, still wine with this beautiful grape, which means black laurel. And it's a really savory, rich mouthfeel.
Yeah, I believe that Mavrodaphne and Xinomavro are 2 of the best red grapes in Greece. We have a lot of examples of Xinomavro, and the winemakers during a very long time vinify Xinomavro. So it's another level in terms of the variety. Mavrodaphne is very new. I think that has a really big potential, and that we are going to appreciate this potential after some years of working with this grape.
And it's actually native to this region as well,
yeah.
which is good for you because you're the ones that have been able to do all that research and really kind of get it into the wine writer's eyes as a dry red wine.
It was a real education for us.
I loved it.
And we were drinking mainly during our trip white wines because it was hot. But this is a beautiful wine with a native grape. Now, are you, as Rouvalis, working with other black, red or black varieties other than the Tsigelo wines?
Yes, my father used to work with Cabernet Sauvignon, and we still work with that, but also we added in Cabernet Franc. We believe that Cabernet Franc also expresses very well the altitude and the cool climate of the region. So we started to focus on Cabernet Franc. So we would say that the new era of the winery is focused from international grape varieties. We focus more in Riesling and Cabernet Franc and our indigenous grapes.
It's interesting.
No argument for me. I love both of those grapes.
Yeah,
Cabernet Franc.
we're big on Cabernet Franc seems to be making a.
It's having a moment. That's for
it's
sure.
having a moment for sure.
You know, it seems to adapt well to a lot of different
It
climates,
does.
which I think is why people are planting more of it, and it's showing really well from pretty much everywhere it grows.
Yeah, I think so too. Down the road, are you planning? Talk to us about the winery itself, and of course, you can visit and experience. Now, it is a gravity fed winery in 6 levels. For anyone who's listening or watching this podcast, could you explain that? And what does it mean in terms of when your father built this? Why is it important in this area? Because it was the first in Greece, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. So talk to us about why this is, what it is, and why is it important?
It's a gravity flow winery. Means that it's built on different levels. In our case, 6 different levels, so that the production is done by the natural gravity flow without using pumps. The pumps oxidize the wine, stress the wine. So we work 100% by gravity flow. This layout makes the winery also very highly educational as well, helping visitors to understand each step of the winemaking simply by moving from one level to the next one. It's also bioclimatic. That means that the vertical rock forming one wall on every floor and north-facing windows only. And there we offer tastings and educational information about the region, local varieties, our philosophy, always in a very family-run atmosphere. We're a family-operated winery.
I visited a lot of gravity flow wineries. It's hard to explain it, but they're all spectacularly built.
Well, I love the fact. I love
architecture.
Theodora's point that it gives you an education as you walk through the winery by default.
Yeah, I mean,
because each step is on a different level.
Yeah, I mean, the ones we have visited have been quite. We've seen some very modern ones, and it's interesting that your father was the first to do. I mean, I don't know how many gravity flow wineries there are in Greece now, but I've seen this.
I mean, after that is also the cooperative of Santorini, Santo Wines now.
Interesting. I mean, we see them in Italy quite often. Usually it's some of the more modern structures. In Spain, definitely. They tend to be more modern wineries. It's very interesting. So 2 questions. The first is, what are you thinking about doing in the future with Rouvalis? What are some of your plans?
I think that is to keep refining our viticulture and deepen our work in general, so that further elevate Aigialeia's identity on the international stage. Mount Aigialeia offers meaningful answer to today's production and climate changes challenges. At the same time, this direction aligns with the expectation of the consumer. Organic products that support the sustainability of rural life. So I think that this is the direction for us. We continue to invest in mountain viticulture, in research, in knowledge, and to preserve our cultural heritage. I think that these are our tools. This is our path forward.
Well, it's interesting. This is such a special place, and just to underscore, it's about roughly a 2-hour drive from Athens, kind of west.
Over the Gulf Corinth, over
Yeah.
the Isthmus of Corinth.
It's a beautiful
And into
drive.
the
Once you leave
Peloponnese.
Athens, it's a beautiful drive. You pass the historic ruins of city and ruins of Corinth, which we would recommend. It's
Ancient
less
Corinth, yeah.
less ancient Corinth is less busy than the Parthenon, and you can see a lot of beautiful history and a beautiful museum. And then, of course, the region is got some small beaches and coves and this ski resort if you want to go skiing, and then these mountain wineries which are open. Now, you welcome visitors by appointment, right, Theodora?
Yes, right.
And they can go taste at the winery. Do they visit the vineyards, or they mainly just taste at the winery?
That is, it depends, because the vineyard is really far away. The winery is on the city of Aigio,
Right.
and all the vineyards are really in high altitude. So it's like 40 minutes drive from the winery, 40 to go and 40 to come back.
Yeah.
So it depends on the period and the group.
I think it's probably
Um,
easier just to go to the winery, because
think
it is a quite a harrowing drive, and it's a little switchback. It's beautiful,
It's beautiful.
but it is it's not for the faint of heart.
Mm.
It really is not. But the tasting experience in the room, it's a beautiful winery, and you've expanded it. It's really quite lovely, and I think this is a really good time to share the wine, the website, which is rouvaliswinery.gr. You can see a lot of information. The Rouvalis wines are imported by VOS Selections here in the United States, and not all of them are available here, but several, like the Ascalepi, is available, and I think the Sigello is. I went on the VOS Selections website to check.
Yes.
So it's a wonderful opportunity to experience them here in the United States, and hopefully not. The great thing is, I think the wines are at many types of restaurants here in the United States. I've noticed that they don't say Greek restaurants; they say Mediterranean restaurants. That tends to be the norm when you're talking about restaurants now. They go Mediterranean, so you'll find them there, but also at other fine dining establishments. These are very refined wines.
Mm.
Well, Theodora, we're really glad you joined us late for where you are, and as harvest is starting. How are you feeling about harvest right now?
We have a really good time. I mean, now in Aigialeia, this year was really good. We had a lot of rains during the winter. We had snow. We had a really refreshing summer. Just now, in the end, we had some days of heat. So, in general, it's a very good harvest. We expected a very good harvest. It's very early to say something, because we start now, and here in Aigialeia, we finish in October. So we have a long way yet.
So it's a long harvest as well.
It's a very long harvest.
Yeah.
This is your altitude.
Yeah. Yes, we start now with some early grapes varieties like Chardonnay or Merlot, and lower altitudes like 600 meters, 700 meters. And we continue during the September with the other international grapes as Riesling in higher altitudes. And at the end of September, usually we harvest Rhoditis. That is our main grape, and then is the majority of the work. And Lagorthia, Sirtico, Kidonitsa, all of our indigenous grape varieties are late ripening, late grapes. So we finish with them, and during October.
Wow. Well, good luck. That's a long harvest.
Thank you very much.
That really is. We hope it's successful, and
Yes.
there's nothing climatic
Thank you.
that occurs during this time. So for everyone who has been listening and watching, first, thank you for joining us on The Connected Table. You can see this show and all of them on our YouTube channel, The Connected Table TV. You can hear this show on more than 65 podcasts, and please check out our blog on Substack and our website, The Connected Table. We have been speaking with Theodora Rouvali, whose father is a pioneer in modern Greek winemaking, and the Rouvalis Winery is one of the great wineries in the very small region of the PGI slopes of Aigialeia, and one definitely worth visiting, particularly if you want to get out and off the beaten tourist track and really go where there's not big tour buses and the like. I mean, there's some wonderful regions where there are tour buses, but
just go for the beautiful scenery.
Yeah.
It's such a stunning area to visit.
just
In
stunning.
every respect, I think.
Yeah, I think we made the right
Yeah, we
decision.
sure
I
did.
think we were the lucky ones to be able to see this region
Yeah.
and, of course, spend time with you. So, Theodora, thank you for joining us at our table today on the Connected Table.
Thank you very much. And thank you for opening a window into Aigialeia region and Rouvalis. Thank
Well,
you.
we hope to come back sooner rather than later.
Yes,
I
we
hope
love
so.
Greece.
Sure.
We are enchanted by Greece, and we hope everybody who visits or is planning a visit is as well. And to that effect, before we sign off, a lot of people go to Greece and they just want to go right to Athens and to the Greek islands, and there's so much more to see. We were in the Peloponnese and only in one very small area of it, and there's northern Greece. Greece is much bigger and more diverse than I even anticipated.
Yeah.
And I think it's really important when you're planning a trip to take your time and maybe bite off a little bit more and don't take too much, don't go here, here, and here, because it does take some time to get around. So pick an area, savor it slowly, and enjoy it, and then plan a return trip like we will.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. You've been listening to The Connected Table. As I said, please follow us on Instagram at The Connected Table, or read our blog, theconnectedtable.com. We're in Substack, the same name, The Connected Table. Watch our show, The Connected Table TV, and always stay insatiably curious.